We're going to take a look at converting a 2D design file to a 3D design file, and vice versa. And the significant consideration is how the existing elements in a design are treated after the conversion. Now, when we're converting in either direction, a new design file is going to be created. So let's get started with converting a 2D to a 3D design. You can see the standard title block that I used back in level 2. And it tells us that this is the T-block design and it's 2D. So we need to convert this to a 3D design file. And to do that is actually quite simple. We go to File and Export, because the process is called exporting to one of these different file types. And we need to go to 3D. And now we have a dialog box, which is essentially a Save As dialog box. And it's asking us to save to a 3D design file. So we're going to call this 2 to 3. That will be quite simple. The next step is we have to look at the bottom of the Save As box here, where we decide on which view orientation we're going to use as the orientation for the 3D file. From a 2D, you pretty much have to pick top, since a 2D is essentially always a top view. So make sure that's top. Typically, Z is fixed, since there is no Z at all. We'll say OK, and nothing appears to happen. Now that new file has been created, but we don't automatically switch to it, so now we have to open that. So let's go to File. We will open. And here is our new 2 to 3 design file, so I'll open that. And it looks exactly the same, but it is a 3D file. And I am going to go down here and open up our standard 4 windows. We'll tile them. 1, 2, 3, 4 are all called top views. So we need to make some changes. So let's select that. Let's make that an isometric. This one will be the front view, and this one will be our standard right side view. And let's maximize in each case. For some reason, the right has the grid on. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so there in our top view is exactly the same 2D elements, because we went from the top 2D to the top 3D. So that's exactly as it should be. Now, the other 3 views are showing something different, of course. We're seeing the title block in the isometric, but it's actually on a 2-dimensional plane, as you can see from the right view and the front view. You might think, if you look a little closer, that we are actually seeing a 3D drawing here, but we're not. There's a slight difference in lines here. And that's simply because we have a weight 0 line here and a weight 1 line there. So they're showing up as different thicknesses of lines. So that's not a 3D effect that you're seeing there. Now, the important thing to remember here is that the X, Y coordinates of the 2D file were transferred to the X, Y coordinates of the top view in the 3D file, which is why this process works as it does. Now, so far so good, but we now need to convert a 3D file to a 2D file. So I'm going to zip along and open up my 3D file here. So we go through the same process, File and Export, but now we export to 2D. Need a new file name. This one will be 3.2. And look down again at the conversion options. This is where you have to be quite careful. You're going back to a 2D file. The best choice is usually view 1, provided view 1 is a top view. And it is in this case. It's the top view. View 1 is the standard X and Y coordinate type system. So when we go to the 2D file, we want to have the same X, Y coordinate layout to avoid problems. Now, you could use any of the other views if you wanted to, but the view that you see displayed in each of our 4 views right now will be used in the 2D drawing. Now, let me just do this first with the view 1, top view. We don't much care about the preserve Z. It won't have any Z depth at all. So we'll say OK. And again, that file doesn't open, so we have to open it on our own. So we open, and here's our 3 to 2 design. Now we're in our 2D design, and you notice that all 4 views, which are open, are all the same. And again, the important thing here is that our top view, which is the whole 2D drawing, is the same as the top view from the 3D drawing. What I'd like you to do now is to repeat this process for a 3D to a 2D, But instead of using the top view as your source view, try view number 2, the isometric view, as your source view, and see what happens in the new 2D file. While you're doing this, just keep in mind that all 3D objects in this 3D drawing are flattened into 2D. Give it a try, see what results you get.